people don't want a process to get in the way.
Right. That's
And
not what's important to the internal customer.
exactly. And I think this is where technology can very much be procurement's ally in the sense that if the technology can help get procurement out of the way, in the sense that, a person doing something manually, trying to help people with writing scopes of work or signing off statements of work or whatever it might be, if technology can kind of automate that for a self-service scenario, then it gets that headache out of the user's way. And hopefully, the aim of the technology is to make everything nice and streamlined and easier. That's how easier, faster, safer, more compliant. So it's partly doing procurement's job for them, but it's also putting them in the position where they can kind of step back a little bit, rather than kind of trying to jump in and fix a broken process. They can have a process happening, and organizations, it's interesting to see how they kind of turn the volume up or down on how much control they have over things. So they
Well, I
might,
think there's also, you're right. I think there's some thresholds there too, probably. If you're spending less than this amount of money, there's no kind of risk associated with it. Um, well, this is something we've bought before. Go ahead, use the tool, use the system. Procurement doesn't need to be involved in it at all. It's all self-serve. You cross some thresholds. It's over $10 million. It's a risky category. It's something we've not done before. Procurement would like to have a little bit more participation in this process.
yeah, it's going back to the data side of it. Even if you have a very lightweight process of what procurement are doing in terms of how they're not lightweight process, a lightweight kind of light touch procurement approach, you're still capturing an absolute ton of data.
Yeah.
And that's what's not happening at the moment. So even in that situation, procurement teams could almost like bide their time a little bit and let people, even if you let people do what they're currently doing, but put a few guardrails around it and just let it be streamlined, but actually capture that information, that's where they can start building the case or building their arguments or working out strategically how to move forward without upsetting the apple cart and stopping people doing their jobs.
Well, you brought a point, and I was making a note earlier on around business case. And procurement has to have the means by which they can build a business case to persuade the internal customers that adopting the technology is in their interest. And that business case might be a financial business case, but it might also be a risk business case, or an operational business case, where they can say, look, these are going to be the benefits if we do this differently. We're going to eliminate some of our legal risk, our reputational risk. We're going to eliminate the risk of escalations or the risk of whatever it might be. We know that we can, if we get to participate in the supplier selection, or we can add this business to work we're already doing with the supplier, so there's less overhead that gets assigned to it, right? These are all the components of the business case as to why we need to do things differently and prove that out in the implementation as well.
So if you look back at the work that you did with, I remember the name of it, Abbreviate. Is
Yeah,
that the correct name? So
yeah.
your procurement technology platform, SaaS platform back in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s. What do you think is different now about putting a business case across for procurement to bring in new technology? How has that changed in that time? Because that's quite a decent amount of time. I'd be interested to know what you think has changed over that time, or whether, the same challenges are still there.
So sadly, I think the same challenges are still there.
Right.
I think in some respects we've not progressed as much as we would like. I think, having said that, I think risk as a part of procurement's responsibility is now front and center. I would say 10 years ago, procurement's view of risk was, I hope that happens on the other guy's watch, not my watch. And I think they've realized they need to take a little bit more of a proactive role in risk.